What's good, everybody? This is Lethal John Peterson here, and welcome back to History of Yu-Gi-Oh! First off, I'd like to issue an apology to those in my Kaido lecture, because according to King, I overlooked a couple of monsters. Those three being Rogue Doll, a light attribute level 4 spellcaster monster with 1600 attack and 1000 defense. A deadly doll gifted with mystical powers. It is particularly powerful when attacking against dark forces. And yet it gets powered up by Yami. Okay. Koji Koki, an Earth attribute level 4 warrior monster with 1500 attack and 1200 defense. A manhunter with powerful arms that can crush boulders. And Urabi, an Earth attribute level 4 dinosaur type monster with 1500 attack and 800 defense. Fast on its feet, this dinosaur rips enemies to shreds with its sharp claws. Alright, now that's out of the way. Let's move on to starter deck Joey, which was released on March 30th, 2003, with more of a cohesive layout. Starting with Red Eyes Black Dragon, a dark attribute level 7 dragon type monster with 2400 attack and 2000 defense. A ferocious dragon with a deadly attack. Next we got, and this was Joey's ace in the hole for the longest time. Next we got Swordsman of Landstar, an Earth attribute level 3 warrior type monster with 500 attack and 1200 defense. An amateur with a sword, this fairy warrior relies on mysterious power. And this was used in the Battle City arc, which hasn't started until the mid-2000s in the anime. Next we got Baby Dragon, a wind attribute level 3 dragon type monster with 1200 attack and 700 defense. Much more than just a child, this dragon is gifted with untapped power, and it taps into that power when used with the Time Wizard, which I will explain later. Next we got Spirit of the Harp, a light attribute level 4 fairy type monster with 800 attack and 2000 defense. A spirit that soothes the souls of its all with the music from its heavenly harp. Well, they do say music has the power to soothe the savage beast. Next up we got Island Turtle, a water attribute level 4 aqua type monster with 1100 attack and 2000 defense. A huge turtle that is often mistaken for an island. As the dolt duo of Joey and Tristan learned the hard way in Capsule Monsters. Next we got Flame Manipulator, a fire attribute level 3 spellcaster type monster with 900 attack and 1000 defense. This spellcaster attacks enemies with fire-related spells such as Sea of Flame and Wall of Fire. Yet we don't see that in the anime. I wonder why. Anyway, next we got Masaki, the legendary swordsman, an Earth attribute level 4 warrior monster with 1100 attack and defense. Legendary swordsman Masaki is a veteran of over 100 battles. And yet, when faced with my childhood crush, Arrow, he ends up shredded like a really good guitar solo. Up next, we got Seven Colored Fish, a water attribute level 4 fish type monster with 1800 attack and 800 defense. A rare rainbow fish that has never been caught by mortal men. Or seen by mortal men in the anime, for that matter. Nyak nyak. Next up, we got Armored Lizard, An Earth attribute level 4 reptile type monster with 1500 attack and 1200 defense. A lizard with a very tough hide and a vicious bite. And so it doesn't get used fight that much against the battle axe. Next we got Dark Fire Soldier number 1, a fire attribute level 4 pyro type monster with 1700 attack and 1150 defense. An explosive expert from a special elite unit. And yet, somehow it doesn't show said skill set. Next we got Sky Scout, or Harpy's brother depending on who you ask. A wind attribute level 4 winged beast type monster with 1800 attack and 600 defense. With eyes like a hawk and a flying speed exceeding Mach 5, this monster is a master of the sky. Yep. Yeah, but it doesn't show such skill set when it's in the anime. Oh well, it is what it is. Next up we got Gearfried, the Iron Knight, an Earth attribute level 4 warrior type monster with 1800 attack and 1600 defense. If either player equips an equip spell, this card, it gets destroyed. But it doesn't get used until Battle City, which bites. Next we got Karate Man, an Earth attribute level 3 warrior type monster with 1000 attack and defense. And its effect is, you can double the original attack of this card once per turn. If you use this effect, destroy this monster during the end phase. Also, Afro. Every time. Afro. Next we got Milus Radiant, an Earth attribute level 1 beast monster with 300 attack and 250 defense. As long as this card remains face up on the field, increase the attack and attack of all Earth monsters by 500 and decrease the attack of all Wind monsters by 400. Next up we got Time Wizard, a light attribute level 2 spellcaster monster with 500 attack and 400 defense. Its effect is, once per turn you can toss a coin and call it. If you call it right, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. If you call it wrong, destroy as many monsters as you control as possible. And if you do, take damage equal to half the total attack of the destroyed monsters while this card was face up on the field. Actually, something funny happened to me when I was facing this card back in my playthrough. Joey was dueling me, and he used Time Wizard's effect, as Joey is one to do. It landed on Tails, and all his monsters were wrecked, and he loses life points. Then, he summons another Time Wizard. Does the same thing. Tails again. I was straight up laughing my head off on that. But anyway, we got Mahavilo, a light attribute level 4 spellcaster type monster with 1550 attack and 1400 defense. Its effect is, this card gains 500 attack for each equipped spell card equipped to this thing. Next we got Magician of Faith, a light attribute level 1 spellcaster monster who has 300 attack and 400 defense. And its flip effect is, target one spell in your graveyard and add that target to your hand. Alright, first off, it was used by Taya. Second off, how this thing hasn't gotten banned yet is a head scratcher for the ages. Next we got Big Eye, a dark attribute level 4 fiend type monster with 1200 attack and 1000 defense. Its flip effect is, look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck. then place them in any order you see fit. And yet it isn't used in the anime. Next up we got Sangan, a card used by Yami Bakura in the Battle City arc. It is a dark, level 3 fiend type monster with 1000 attack and 600 defense. If this card is sent to the graveyard from the field, add one monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand, but you cannot activate cards with the effects of cards with that name for the rest of the turn. You can only use said effect once a turn. And yep, it was banned for the longest time. But recently, Sangan's been making a resurgence. Next up we got Princess of Tsurugi, a wind attribute level 3 warrior type monster with 900 attack and 700 defense. Its flip effect is, inflict 500 points of damage for each spell and trap on your opponent's field. It wasn't used in the anime. Shocker. Next up we got White Magical Hat, a light attribute level 3 spellcaster type monster with 1000 attack and 700 defense, which was used by Yami Bakura in Duelist Kingdom, back before he had all those crazy occult cards and that heckin' nope. Next we got Penguin Soldier. Actually, with Light Magical Hat's effect, when this card inflicts damage to your opponent's life points, your opponent discards one card randomly from their hand. Lastly, for the main deck monsters, we got Penguin Soldier, a water attribute level 2 aqua monster with 750 attack and 500 defense. Its flip effect is you can target up to 2 monsters on your field and return them to your hand. Yeah. Wasn't used in the anime, I think. But this deck introduced a radical new concept for the time, Fusion Summon, which used Polymerization, which I will get to now. It is a spell card that allows you to fusion summon one monster from the extra deck, using monsters on the hand and field as fusion material. One of said fusion monsters is Thousand Dragon, a wind attribute level 7 dragon monster with 2400 attack and 2000 defense. Its materials consist of Time Wizard and Baby Dragon. The other one in this deck is Flame Swordsman, a fire attribute level 5 warrior type monster with 1800 attack and 1600 defense. Its material is Flame Manipulator and Misaki, the legendary swordsman. Now we got the other spells in this deck. Malevolent Nuzzler. It's an equip spell that allows the equipped monster to gain 700 attack, but when it's sent to the grave, you can pay 500 life points and place this card on the top of your deck. So in a way, it's kind of a double-edged sword. We got Dark Hole, we know what that does, destroys all monsters on the field. Same with Diankato, increase your life points by 1000. Fissure, destroy one monster with the lowest attack on the field. Dispel, target one unface-up spell or spell card and destroy it, or set spell or trap. Imp, and Change of Heart, which is still banned. Target one monster your opponent controls and take control of it until the end phase. Next up we got Block Attack, a spell card that targets one face-up attack position monster your opponent controls and switches it to face-up defense. Up next we got Giant Trunade. Return all spell and traps on the field back to the hand. And yes, it's banned, but it has a spiritual successor in Hey Trunade. Next we got the Reliable Guardian. Increase one face-up defense position monster's defense by 700 until the end of the turn. Remove Trap, we know what that card does. Select one face-up trap on the field and destroy it. Monster Reborn, still limited. Target one monster in either player's grave and special summon it. Mountain, we know what that does. All dragon, winged beast, and thunder monsters gain 200 attack and defense. Mountain, this is a field spell. All dragon, winged beast, and thunder monsters on the field gain 200 attack and defense. Next we got Dragon Treasure. A dragon-type monster equipped with this card gains 300 attack and defense. Next we got Eternal Rest. Destroy all monsters equipped with equipped cards. Next we got Shield and Sword. Switch the original attack and defense of all monsters on the field until the end of the turn. And Joey used this to deep 6 all of Bones' zombie monsters with Battle Warrior. Next we got Scapegoat, which is limited. She'll summon 4 sheep tokens, Beast Earth, level 1, and 0 attack and defense in defense position. They cannot be treated for a tribute summon. You cannot summon other monsters the turn you activate this card, but you can normal summon and set. And you can normal set. And finally, we got the trap cards. Just Desserts, we know what that does. Inflict 500 damage for every monster your opponent controls. Trap Hole, we know what that does. When your opponent normal or flip summons a monster with 1,000 or more attack, it gets destroyed. Reinforcements and Castle Walls increase a monster's attack and defense respectively. Waboku, you take no damage from your opponent's monsters, and your monsters can't be destroyed by battle. Ultimate Offering, summon an additional monster at the cost of 500 life points, and that Reverse Trap. Until the end phase, attack. The addition and subtractions are reversed. And finally, we got 7 Tools of the Bandit. A counter trap. Have that when a trap is activated, pay 1,000 life points, negate the activation, and destroy it. And finally, Fake Trap. You can only activate this card when your opponent uses an effect of a spell, trap, or effect monster to destroy traps. Destroy this card as a substitute for those traps, and the other traps that are not destroyed by it. If the set card would have been destroyed, pick up and see the set card. And that about does it for the addendums to Structure Deck Kaiba and Structure Deck Joey in general. If you like what you saw, hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe with those notifications turned on. This has been your Little Spurg John Peterson telling you all to take it easy. Have a good one.